Guys, there could be a wild haggis on your Scotland map and you might be running right past it. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how the keen eye skill works to turn lookout towers into haggis finding machines by instantly revealing feed zones all over the map. I'll also share how many confirmed wild haggis the community has found so far, everything we know about how it spawns, and the exact method I use to give myself the best chance of tracking one down. If you want to stop guessing and start hunting, this is the video. Let me know in the comments whether or not you have personally seen or found a wild haggis, and let's jump in. Okay, so we are here in Scotland, and this map has now been out for just over a month. And to date, there have only been about 51 wild haggises found in the community so far, that we know of course. And that is really not very many. One thing we do know for sure is that the wild haggis is real, and there definitely could be one on your map right now. But today, I'm going to share with you the skill that I have been using to greatly increase the chances of me finding my wild haggis. But before we get into that, let's talk about everything we know about the wild haggis as of right now. Now, if you are looking for information on the wild haggis, there is piles of it in the official Hunters Discord. So just come on in here, go to General. When you hover over General, you'll see over here, more active threads, that there is a haggis hunting club. So click on that, and that will bring you right here. Now, if you actually go to the pinned comments, look at this. A huge thank you to Funky Monkey. He has been compiling data on the wild haggis, and he has created this absolutely amazing information chart. These are all of the spots where they have been found so far. So anywhere above the river basically is where you should be looking. They have been found in single player and in multiplayer. Okay, so here's everything we know. They feed and travel at all times. Look at the feed zone times here. So basically what they do is they feed, then they travel, then they feed, then they travel, then they feed. That's all they do. They don't rest, they don't drink, they just feed and travel. So basically you can hunt them at any time of the day. It really doesn't matter what you set the time to. They only have a stomach. So if you want a vital shot, that is what you're aiming for. Half of them have longer right legs and half of them have longer left legs. Now they do have a bagpipe call that can be heard when you are within 100 meters, and that's not very far. So you really have to be close to them in order to hear that call. If I heard that, I would definitely start freaking out. But that is pretty cool, and it actually starts the Scotland the Brave song. That is the call. Now they do have another call, and it sounds like a cat or a bird screeching. They do have a new spawn mechanic. The problem is we don't know what it is. We don't know what makes them spawn, and it actually says here that you do not have to shoot grouse in order to spawn it. The Benahag is not required. There was speculation that you had to use the Benahag to shoot grouse in order to spawn the haggis, and I guess that has been disproven. They will not come into feeders, so don't bother setting up feeders. And to date, there has been one diamond wild haggis found. And the person who found that diamond haggis has found a second wild haggis, according to reports. So that's very interesting. So there is speculation that you do need to complete at least some of the missions. Not everyone, but definitely some players have found their wild haggis while right in the middle of completing their missions. So I think it would be a good idea to at least do a few of the missions and have the missions on when you are hunting for your wild haggis. It certainly couldn't hurt. Now we know that there are class 2 species, so I am carrying the Frost with me, but any class 2 to 6 rifle or 2 to 4 rifle, even the 243, will do a great job. Now they have 6 different fur types that we know of so far. Some of them are cute and some of them are not, in my opinion. Now we know that they do leave tracks and disturb vegetation. So they kind of look like raccoon tracks, but they are different, and they do leave droppings, and that is what they look like right here. And that is what the wild haggis will look like when you put it in the lodge. Seriously. It's going to be on a plate, and it's going to be your dinner. So we know that they can be tracked by pointer dogs. They do have feed zones that can be revisited after changing the time and leaving the map. So that's good to know. They do have a good sense of smell, but their other senses are not very good. And it also says on here that the collar and the who's deer skill, it doesn't work. So don't bother with that. That has been disproven. So basically that's what we know about the wild haggis so far. So let's have a look at this skill that I have been playing around with. Okay, so in order to get the skill that you need in order to try this to find your wild haggis, you are going to have to reset your skills, and it is not cheap. So this is the skill that we're looking for, and it's not easy to get to. So it's the Keen Eye skill. It's under Ambusher skills. It's in the top row under tier 4. I did try to do it just by resetting the Ambusher skills, and I could not get to it. Okay, so let's read what it says. So it says, Keen Eye unlocks the ability to scout the surrounding area for animals and signs of activity near a lookout point. You must be within 10 meters of the survey map in a lookout point to activate the skill. The action can be repeated, but it comes with a cooldown time. Level 1 adds a chance of revealing need zones on the map near the lookout point when surveying from it, and level 2 adds a chance of revealing animal groups on the map near the lookout point when surveying from it. So really, you only need level 1 for our purposes of finding the wild haggis. Now, before I reset my skills and got the Keen Eye skill, the skill or perk that I had activated was zeroing. Now, I still have it, but you can only activate 1 skill or perk at a time, not 2. Anyway, I will show you how this all works. So, first thing you're going to need to do is reset the Stalker and the Ambusher skills. It is 52,500 to reset your Ambusher skills, and it is 24,500 to reset your Stalker skills. So to reset both Ambusher and Stalker skills will cost a total of 77,000 in-game dollars. So it's not cheap. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Reset. And reset. Done. Now, before we go in and start skill shopping, let me show you what using this skill has done for my map and how it works. So basically, you want to go to a lookout tower. Now, I would recommend placing a tent as close as possible to this lookout tower. It can be any lookout tower above the river. Don't worry about the ones below. Wild haggis have only been found above the river. So I am working on this area right here, but I have completed 3 different lookout towers, and that was the first one. Now I can still go back there and continue using my Keen Eye skill to get more and more zones here, and I will. I'm just trying to do this for all the lookout towers. Now, a lot of these have multiple, like, look at that, 5 different species using this rest zone. Now, every time you come here and use the skill, it's only going to give you a couple zones. It's not going to give you all of them. You're going to have to use the skill over and over and over again, but there is a cooldown time. Oh, I reset. Okay, so I have discovered all the zones for this lookout tower, for this lookout tower, and for this lookout tower so far. Look at all the zones. So basically, once you have got all the zones, you want to be checking them, and what you're looking for is an unknown species. We don't know exactly what it's going to say, seeing as I've never seen a wild haggis zone before. It's not going to say wild haggis. It's going to say something like undiscoverable, something like that. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to say, but you'll know it when you see it. And that will be the wild haggis zone. And that is what we're looking for. So, I mean, I may not have a wild haggis on my map, but if I do, this is definitely going to help me to find it. There's no guarantees that I'll find it using this, but it is definitely going to give me a much greater chance. So you definitely want to be checking all of these zones every once in a while to see if you do have the wild haggis zone. And if you do, it's time to go hunting. Now, a viewer of mine actually found their wild haggis using this skill. So this definitely will work for some of you. Okay, so once you've reset your skills, the first thing you want to do is go into Ambusher. Make sure you do get the Keen Eye skill before you spend the rest of your skills in the Stalker skills. So I'm going to put 1 in Scent Tinkerer. That's going to open up tier 1. I'm going to put 3 in Spotting Knowledge. That's important. I need tier 2 to open, so we do have to spend more points. Let's see. Don't really care about any of these. So I'll put 1 in Dazed and Confused, and that opened up tier 2. So I'm going to put 1 in Sight Spotting. I need it to keep opening up the next tier. Okay. Now these are not super important. I'm going to put 2 in Fatal Attraction. Still don't have tier 3 open. Doesn't really matter which one I choose now. I just need it to open the next tier. So, sure. I'll put it in the more the merrier, and it opened. Okay. I really don't like this one. I'm not going to be picking tag. Who's Deer? Adds a random chance of attracting a species that is not usually attracted by a particular collar or pack mule. Now, I would have definitely chosen pack mule before, but I can just use a backpack. So I'll pick who's deer. Oh my gosh, I guess I'm getting pack mule as well. You have to spend a lot of points to unlock tier 4. Holy moly. Okay, well, it is finally open. So I put 1 point in Kenai. Now I'm actually going to put 2 in. So level 2 adds a chance of revealing animal groups on the map. Nah, that's okay. I'm not. I'm just going to leave it at 1. Okay, then we're going to go into Stalker. We have 8 points left. Put 1 in Locate Tracks. Definitely 3 in Track Knowledge. I need to get to Soft Feet. All right, I'm going to put 1 in I'm Only Happy When It Rains. And it opened the next tier. I want 2 in Soft Feet. I have 1 point left, but that did not unlock tier 3. If I can get my hands on Improvised Blind, but you know what this does? It takes away Disturbed Veg. So I won't be keeping my skills like this forever. This is not a permanent change because I have to have Disturbed Vegetation. That is non-negotiable. I found a super rare from Disturbed Veg, and after that, I will not live without it. So I'm gonna have to, when I'm done, reset my skills again to put them back to what I want to run with permanently. So I have 1 left, so I'm gonna put it and connect the dots, and there you go. I have spent all of my skill points. Now, go back into Ambusher, and any green skill or perk has to be activated. So I am on PC, so I'm gonna right-click, and I'm going to click activate. What that is going to do is activate my Kenai skill, but what it's also going to do is deactivate my zeroing. Now I can use the zeroing, I just have to activate it before I want to use it. So look in the bottom right-hand corner. That is the indicator for my Kenai skill. Now I did just use it, and anytime you use it, once you use it, you're going to get a countdown. And the only way to use it again is either to wait out that countdown or to completely exit the game. And I mean not just to the home menu, you need to completely shut the game down. So let's do that. So go to System, exit to Desktop, shut it down. So then we're on this screen, wait till this says play, click that, and wait for the game to load up again. This is way faster than waiting for the time to count down till you can use that skill again. So usually while the game is reloading, I'll be doing something on the internet, not just sitting and waiting. Okay, and once the game's ready, just press continue. That'll take you right back into the map, and it's going to land me in my tent close to the lookout tower that I am using the Kenai skill on. So then you want to go up to within 10 meters of this lookout tower, and you want to press F. Now it says F in the bottom right corner, so you don't have to memorize that. So I'm going to press F. But before I do, this is what it looks like right now. I pressed F. It says rest zone discovered. Another rest zone. Feed zone. Another feed zone. Come on, baby. Keep going. Oh, another one. That's 3. Okay, I think it's done. So that added about 5 different zones. When you first start doing it, I find they give you 2 each time you use it. But the more you use it, I find it starts giving you more and more rest and feed zones. So then you'll notice the countdown in the bottom right corner. So it's counting down from about 1700 and I don't know how many, probably 1800 seconds. So what you could do is change the time, and I could go down and work on my wild boar grind. And when the time is up, just fast travel back up here to this tent and run up to this point within 10 meters of the lookout and press F again, and then go back to my grind. So you can just work away at it while you're grinding, or just completely get out of the game and come all the way back and keep doing that over and over and over again until it looks like this around your lookout tower. And look, like a lot of these have 4 and 5 species in them. So that is a lot of zones. Okay, so I just left the game and came back again. Gonna do it again and wait for the zones to attach to the map. So basically that's it. What you're trying to do is get that Wild Haggis zone onto the map. If you do have a Wild Haggis on your map, there is a good chance that you will find it this way. There's no guaranteed chance. You may not even have one on your map, but you definitely could. We don't know what makes them spawn, but we will continue researching that. But I will share with you what I have been doing in order to give me the best chance of finding my Wild Haggis while I'm hunting. Okay, so I just left the game and came back and used the skill one more time. Now I actually used the stopwatch on my phone to figure out how long it does take to exit the game and come back, and it took me 51 seconds. So less than a minute to come back and use the skill again. It's not super exciting, but it is the most efficient way to get the most zones down on your map. Now, what I'm going to do here, and I'm not going to record it, I'm going to show you now and then at the end. But I'm going to use this 10 times. This is before. I'll take a photo, and let's see what it's going to look like when I use the skill 10 times. Now, I want to mention, if you just exit to the main menu and not all the way out of the game, I'll show you what happens. Okay, just go back in, and the timer is still there. So in order to reset the timer, you have to completely exit the game. Goodbye. Okay, so it took me about 13 minutes to leave the game and come back 10 times, and this is what it looks like after using the Keen Eye skill on this lookout tower 10 times. So a lot of these zones have 2 species using them. Some of them have more than that. This one has 4. But once you're done, you definitely want to go and highlight every single zone. You're looking for one that says something to the effect of unknown species. And if you do find that, that's definitely going to be your Wild Haggis zone, and it's time to go hunting. Now, that hasn't happened to me yet, but I am going to continue doing this at every single one of my lookout towers above the river. So there's one here, there's one right there, one right here. That's 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there are 6, and as of right now, I have discovered a pile of zones around 3 of them. I'm still working on this one, and then I'm going to work my way over, and I'm only using 1 tent at a time because I am still doing the wild boar grind. Now, basically what I do when I am out hunting for the wild haggis is I will hunt on mountaintops. It's always going to be on the side of a mountain. I always turn my volume all the way up because you want to be listening for that bagpipe call or some unknown screeching sound. Now, you're not going to hear it unless it is about 100 meters or closer to you. And at that point, there's a good chance you may have spooked it already. But it does leave tracks, so I pick up every single track. While I am running the Keen Eye skill, I don't have Disturbed Veg, so I won't be using that right now, but you can pick up tracks. Now, when I'm done discovering all these zones, I am going to reset my skills once again and put them back to what I want them to have permanently. But I have quite a bit of cash. I made over $3 million in 1 month shooting wolves. I mean, I guess there is a bonus to shooting 5,000 wolves with no great one. You get a big stack of cash. So it's not going to make a huge difference to me how much I spend on resetting my skills. But if you would like to do this and you don't have a pile of cash, I would recommend going to Emerald Coast, set the time to after 1700, and run that beach, shoot everything. You're going to find piles of bantang, red fox, and crocs, and they all pay the big bucks. Now, there is speculation that using the Benahag and shooting grouse could spawn these wild haggis. The truth is, we don't know what spawns them. I don't have a shotgun on me. I am set up for wild boar right now, but I am always on a mountainside. I'm always spotting, but I'm not just hunting the wild haggis. I'm hunting whatever is around. If I just specifically come out and look for the wild haggis and don't hunt anything else, this will drive me crazy. The game is supposed to be fun, and that would be absolutely no fun. So I am always hunting at the same time. A lot of people report that when they found the wild haggis, well, they didn't really find it, it found them. So you're basically hoping to run into it. So the other thing I'm doing is hunting different spots on the map, and I'm just going to try and pick different quadrants and really scour that part of the map and then move on to another one. I'm going to keep shooting as much as I possibly can. We don't know what makes it spawn. Hopefully something that I do will make it spawn, but I think I'm going to hang on to that Keen Eye skill for a while. Now let's talk about zeroing. Now, if you want to use zeroing while you are running with the Keen Eye skill, all you have to do is go into your rifle perks and highlight the zeroing skill and click activate. So now I have zeroing again, but I can't run the Keen Eye skill, but that's okay. When I want to use it, I just go back to my ambusher skills and I reactivate it. Now, as you can see, it just continues my countdown in the bottom right corner. So if I want to run the wild boar grind with zeroing, I'm not running the counter at the same time. So I basically can't use zeroing if I want to keep jumping back and forth from my wild boar grind up to discover zones when the counter runs out. You basically just have to live without zeroing. Now, if you're set up and you're doing the boar grind and most of your setups are from 200 meters, it shouldn't be a problem. If you do have some zones from 300 meters, just aim for spine and you will make your shot every single time. But it sure is crazy how many zones it puts on your map. Absolutely insane. Make sure you're checking all of those zones for that undiscovered zone. And I really hope that this helps someone find their wild haggis. I'm hoping that someone's gonna be me, not gonna lie. But I'd love for you guys to find it as well. And if you do have a haggis, please let me know in the comments everything that happened. Like, how do you think it spawned? What were the circumstances? Anything that could help us find ours, please share. I would love to hear what your experience has been. All right, hunters, that's going to do it for this Kenai video. And if you enjoyed the video or learned anything at all, you already know what to do. Splat that like button. If you'd like to add more crazy diamonds and rares to your lodge, I've got a video on screen that shows a really crazy hotspot in Scotland where I found a whack of diamonds and rares in multiplayer. So click that next, and let's keep the learning going. And if you're new here, hit subscribe because we're on the road to 300,000 hunters and you do not want to miss the next great one when it spawns. And as always, thank you so much for watching.